Hi, good morning. Hope all of you are fine. Last class we have discussed some examples of bounded linear operator. Today also we are going to discuss some other examples of bounded linear operator. So the next example is a linear operator on L2AB. Okay. Let Kt be a continuous function on closed interval AB. Clear? And in L2AB, define an operator A by AF equal to KTF of T. Okay, once again, Kt be any continuous function on closed interval AB. And define an operator A on L2AB. What is the space L2AB? L2AB is actually the completion of C2AB. Now what about the space C2AB? The set of all square integrable functions. Okay. So in L2AB, define an operator A by AF equal to K of T, F of T. Okay. Then A is a bounded linear operator and we have to prove that norm of A equal to M equal to maximum A less than or equal to T less than or equal to B mod K of T. Okay. First of all, what about L2AB? For any elements of L2AB are functions. Okay. So actually completion of C2AB and the elements if X belongs to C2AB or L2AB, okay, then X is a function of T and norm of X is equal to integral A to B mod xt whole square dt whole raised to 1 by 2. Okay, this is the norm. Okay, integral A to B mod x of t whole square dt whole raised to 1. Therefore, we get norm of x square is equal to integral A to B mod x of t whole square dt. Okay, and if x belongs to L2AB, the definition says that this must be less than infinity. This is the definition. Okay, L2AB, okay, similar C2AB and as X to L2AB is the completion of C2AB, we get for any X belongs to L2AB, we get that is set of all square integrable functions. Now we have to prove A is a bounded linear operator. That is, we have to prove there exists a capital C such that norm of AF less than or equal to C into norm of F. Okay. Now here we have to prove norm of A equal to this one. What about this quantity? K of T is a continuous function. Continuous function on a closed interval AB. Continuous function on a actually closed interval. Bounded. Okay, continuous function on a closed interval is bounded. Therefore, also it attains its maximum. Okay, so K of T is actually bounded in closed interval AB. So it attains a maximum. Okay, maximum value in between in between A and B. Let that point be some T naught. So we get this, suppose this value is some mod K T naught. Okay, suppose this maxima attains at a point T naught between A and B, then this mode value is same as mod K of T naught. Okay, we have to prove this. Hope the definition is clear. AF equal to K of T into F of T. Okay, first we have to prove A is a linear operator. Okay, so you take two elements. A is defined like this. You take two elements F comma G belongs to L2AB. Then what about AF plus G? By definition, AF plus G is same as K of T into F plus G of T, and this is equal to K of T into F of T plus G of T, and this is actually usual product, and that's equal to K of T F of T plus K of T G of T, and this is equal to This is actually k of t into f of t is af plus this is ag. Okay. Therefore, af plus g is same as af plus ag. Okay. Similarly, you can prove acf is equal to caf. Okay. You try to prove this. Okay. This implies a is a linear operator. Okay. Now what about norm of AF? We have norm of AF square. We have norm of x. If x is a function of t, norm of x square equal to integral a to b mod x of t whole square dt. Therefore, applying this here, this is equal to integral a to b mod k of t into f of t whole square dt. And this is equal to integral a to b mod k of t whole square into mod f of t dt. Okay. And this is equal to, this is actually less than or equal to integral a to b mod k of t is always less than or equal to maximum of a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b mod k of t whole square mod f of t whole square dt. And you can take this outside, and this is equal to maximum a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b mod k of t, okay, and whole square into integral a to b mod f of t whole square dt. What about this value? This f of t belongs to L to AB. This is actually norm of whole square. Therefore, this is equal to maximum of a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b mod k of t whole square into norm of f square. Okay. Thus, norm of AF square is equal to maximum a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b mod k of t whole square into norm of f square. Okay. Okay. Thus, we get norm of AF square is less than or equal to this value. Taking square root, we get this one. Okay. All terms are positive. Therefore, we get this one. Okay, mod k of t is a continuous function and it is on closed interval AB, therefore it is bounded. Therefore, clearly mod k of t is less than or equal to some k. Some, you can write this as some, as we used m there, so we can use some c. Okay, so maximum of this mod kt is also less than or equal to c. Okay, this implies norm of AF is less than or equal to c into norm of f. This implies for every t belongs to closed interval AB, this implies maximum a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b mod kt is less than or equal to c. Okay, this implies norm of AF is less than or equal to c into norm of f. This implies our A is a bounded linear operator on closed interval L2 of AB. Okay. Now, and this is true for every f belongs to L2 AB. Okay, this is true for every f belongs to L2 AB. Okay, this is true for every f belongs to L2 AB. This implies A is a bounded linear operator on L2 AB. Okay. Now we have to find norm of A. From this, norm of AF is less than or equal to this value, and actually norm of AF is less than or equal to this value. What about norm of A? Norm of A is actually supremum of AF not equal to 0, norm of AF by norm of f, or you can write supremum of norm of AF such that norm of f equal to 1 or less than or equal to 1, whatever. Okay. Now if you take supreme, each norm of AF is less than or equal to this one, and if you take norm of AF, supremum of norm of AF such that norm of F equal to 1, clearly that is less than or equal to this value. And here norm of F is also 1. Okay, therefore norm of A is less than or equal to, what about this value? Maximum A less than or equal to T less than or equal to B mod K of T. I'm repeating, norm of AF is less than or equal to this one, okay, and you are taking supremum on both sides with the supremum of norm of F such that norm of F equal to 1. And here if norm of F equal to 1, this term become maximum A less than or equal to T less than or equal to B mod K of T. Okay, therefore, and left hand side become norm of A. Therefore, norm of A is less than or equal to this one. Okay, now we have to prove that this norm is equal to this value. Okay, thus we get norm of A is this one, and as K of T is a continuous function and it is bounded on a closed interval AB and it attains its maximum on closed interval AB, let K not be the point at which K of T attains its maximum. Okay, therefore maximum A less than or equal to T less than or equal to B mod K of T is equal to mod K of T naught, and we denote this value as M. M is equal to maximum A less than or equal to T less than or equal to B mod K of T, and let it be mod K of T naught. Now we are going to prove norm of AF is, we get this one, that is norm of A is less than or equal to M. Okay, and now we are going to prove norm of A is greater than or equal to M. That is M is equal to mod K of T naught. Okay, now we are defining a sequence xn by xn of t equal to root of n by 2, t belongs to this interval and 0 otherwise. Okay, this is our, suppose this is our A, B, and this is the point T naught. Okay, and we are considering this interval. Okay, T naught minus 1 by n, and this is T naught plus 1 by n. Okay, so now x and t is defined as root n by 2. Okay, now what about norm of xn square? By definition, this is equal to integral a to b mod xn t square dt, and this is same as integral a to b. Okay, for all other value x and t is 0 in closed interval ab. For all other value, this value is 0, and for this portion the value is root n by 2. So the total integral is same as, from integral a to b we can start from t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n, root modulus of root of n by 2 square dt. And this, why? For all other points between a and b the value is 0. So this is same as this value, and this value is same as integral t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n. This is actually root n by 2 whole square is same as n by 2 dt, and n by 2 is a constant if you consider with respect to t. This is t naught plus 1 by n dt, and this value is 1. Therefore integral is t within the limit t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n. Okay, now what about the integral? N by 2 t naught plus t naught plus 1 by n minus t naught minus 1 by n. T naught cancel, minus 1 by n minus 1 by n means 2 by n. So this is actually n by 2 into 2 by n, and that's equal to 1. Okay, Therefore, if we define x and t is like this, x and t equal to root of n by 2 for this value and 0 otherwise, then clearly s and t belongs to L2AB. Also norm of xn square is 1. Okay, norm of xn square is 1. Thus we get norm of xn square equal to 1 implies norm of xn equal to 1. Norm of xn equal to 1. Now what about norm of axn square? Norm of axn square is same as integral a to b. The function is k of t xn t mod whole square dt. Okay, and this value is actually integral. What about this value? Integral. And k of t into xn t means k of t into root n by 2 if t belongs to this one and 0 otherwise. Therefore, this integral is actually t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n k of t into root of n by 2 actually mod whole square dt. For all other values x and t is 0, therefore kt into x and t is also 0. Okay, and this is actually integral t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n. This value is mod k of t square and root n by 2 square is n by 2 dt, and this is equal to n by 2 integral t naught minus 1 by n t naught plus 1 by n mod k of t whole square dt. Okay, now what about this integral value? K of t is a continuous function and k of t continuous at k of t naught. Okay, k of t is continuous at t naught. So using this result continuity, we can write this integral is actually converges to, and we can easily say that this value as k of t is a continuous function mod k of t whole square, k of t integral t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n mod k of t whole square dt is actually converges to integral t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n mod k of t naught whole square. Okay, and this value is actually equal to integral t naught minus 1 by n to t naught plus 1 by n mod k of t naught whole square dt. This is equal to actually n by 2 mod k of t naught whole square, and this value is 1. Okay, we already checked this value is actually, this value is actually 2 by n. Okay, and this is equal to mod k of t naught square. Okay, actually this is not equal to, this converges to. Okay, thus norm of axn square converges to norm of mod k of t naught square, that is norm of axn converges to mod k of t naught. Okay, clear? Thus we get xn is a sequence is a function in L2AB with the property norm of xn is equal to 1 and norm of axn converges to mod k of t naught. Okay, now we have norm of A is always greater than or equal to norm of axn, because this is the supremum value of norm of AF such that norm of F equal to 1. Here xn, norm of xn equal to 1, therefore this value is greater than or equal to this value. And this converges to mod k naught. Therefore, this is always greater than or equal to. If you take limit on both sides, limit of norm of A is greater than or equal to limit of this value. But limit of norm of A is norm of A itself, norm of A greater than or equal to mod k of t naught. But we have assumed mod k of t naught as m. Therefore, this is equal to m. Thus, we get norm of A is greater than or equal to m. In previous case, we get norm of A is less than or equal to M. From these two values, we get norm of A is equal to M equal to maximum of A less than or equal to T less than or equal to B mod K of T. Okay. Now the fourth one is shift operator in L2. Okay. Now for x is equal to an belongs to L2, we define t from L2 to L2 by tx equal to 0, a1, a2, etc. Okay. And then t is a bounded linear operator and we have to prove norm of tx equal to norm of x for every x, also norm t equal to 1. Just look at this map. This is actually if x is equal to an, that means a1, a2, etc. an. Now what about tx? Tx is actually one shift. Okay, first position 0, then all other remaining terms a1, a2, etc. Okay, so now what about tx? What about norm of tx? This is in L2. Okay, in L2 for x belongs to all L2. What about L2? Norm of x, actually norm of x is equal to sigma I greater than or equal to 1 mod ai whole square whole raised to 1 by 2. Okay. So norm of x, this is less than infinity. This is the definition of if some x belongs to L2. Okay. So norm of x is this one. And we have to prove that this norm of tx equal to norm of x. Okay. Now we have for x belongs to L2, suppose x is equal to a1, a2, a3, etc. Then norm of x equal to sigma I greater than or equal to 1 mod ai whole square whole raised to 1 by 2. Now what about tx? Here tx is actually 0, a1, a2, a3, etc. Okay. Now what about norm of tx? By definition this is equal to actually sigma, okay, I greater than or equal to 1 mod ai whole square. Why? For this position value is 0. For all other position this is 1, 2, 3, etc. Therefore this value is whole square whole raised to 1 by 2 and this is same as our norm of x. Okay. Therefore we get norm of tx by tx is equal to 1 for every x belongs to L2. Norm of tx by norm of x equal to 1 for every x belongs to S2. Therefore, suppose x not equal to 0, supremum norm of tx by norm of x. If you take supremum of this value, this is 1 because all this value is 1. This implies norm of t is also equal to 1. Okay. Now the next example is again on L2. Okay. Let alpha I comma j from 1 to infinity be an infinite matrix and let k square equal to sigma I comma j equal to 1 to infinity mod alpha ij whole square less than infinity. We have this condition. Okay. Then the operator A defined on L2 by A of alpha I varies from 1 to infinity equal to beta I, where beta I equal to sigma j equal to 1 to infinity alpha ij alpha j. Okay. This is a bounded linear operator. Actually, if you take alpha for alpha ij, you replace alpha ij by aij, then it is a little more clear. Okay, this alpha ij is the elements of the matrix and this is our this alpha I. Okay. Okay, so what about the condition on k square? K square is actually sigma, this is double sigma. Sigma I varies from 1 to infinity, again sigma j varies from 1 to infinity, mod alpha ij whole square, and this value is less than infinity. Then this operator A is a bounded linear operator. Operator is this one. Okay, so actually this is of the form A of alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, etc. is same as beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, etc. what is beta 1? Beta I is this one. What about is? Beta 1 is using this definition. We have sigma j varies from 1 to infinity alpha 1 j alpha j. And this is actually alpha 1 1 alpha 1 plus alpha 1 2 alpha 2 plus alpha 1 3 alpha 3 plus alpha 1 4 alpha 4 plus etc. What about beta 2? Beta 2 is sigma j varies from 1 to infinity alpha 2j alpha j. Therefore, this is actually alpha 2 1 alpha 1 plus alpha 2 2 alpha 2 plus alpha 2 3 alpha 3 plus alpha 2 4 alpha 4 plus etc. Okay. If you consider some m, beta m is equal to sigma j varies from 1 to infinity alpha m j alpha j, and this is same as alpha m1 alpha 1 plus alpha m2 alpha 2 plus alpha m3 alpha 3 plus etc. Okay. Actually, if you look at this is actually, if you consider an infinite matrix, we can write an infinite matrix still alpha 1 1 alpha 1 2 alpha 1 3 etc. and this is alpha 2 1 alpha 2 2 alpha 2 3 etc. and etc. alpha m1 alpha m2 alpha m3 etc. into alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 etc. alpha 1 1 alpha 1 alpha 1 2 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 1 3 into alpha 3 plus etc. This form. Okay, this definition is actually okay, and this value is actually, this is actually our beta 1 beta 2 etc. Okay, hope this definition is clear. Okay, now we have to show that A is a bounded linear operator. Linearity you can easily check. Now to show that A is a bounded. Okay. So what? So for this we have to find norm of A alpha I varies from 1 to infinity. Okay. And this is same as norm of beta I. Okay. And this is suppose consider norm of beta I square. And this is same as sigma I greater than or equal to 1 mod beta I. This is a sequence, and this is sigma I greater than or equal to 1 mod bi whole square. Now what about this one? And this is equal to sigma I greater than or equal to 1. What about bi? Bi is same as sigma j equal to 1 to j is greater than or equal to 1. Beta I is alpha j whole square. Okay, but we have Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. This value is less than or equal to this one. Therefore, this value is actually less than or equal to sigma I greater than or equal to 1. This mode value is less than or equal to this one. Okay, therefore square is less than or equal to sigma mod ai whole square into sigma mod bi whole square. All raised to 1 by 2 will cancel. Okay, and this value is less than or equal to mod alpha ij whole square into, this value is less than or equal to sigma j greater than or equal to 1 mod alpha ij whole square into sigma j greater than or equal to 1 mod alpha j whole square. Okay, and this is equal to this value. If you consider summation I greater than or equal to 1, this value is actually a constant. And now what about this value? Sigma j greater than or equal to 1 mod alpha j whole square. This is actually norm of alpha I. Norm of sequence alpha I is, alpha I square is actually sigma I greater than or equal to 1 mod alpha I whole square. Okay, so this is j, therefore this is norm alpha j whole square. Okay, therefore This is actually norm of, this you can write out, this taken sigma I greater than or equal to 1, sigma j greater than or equal to 1, and this is a constant value, and this is our sequence norm of alpha I square to mod alpha I j whole square, and you can take this outside. Norm alpha I square sigma I greater than or equal to 1, sigma j greater than or equal to 1, mod alpha I j whole square, and this value is our k square, and therefore this is equal to norm of alpha I square to k square. Finally we get norm of a alpha I is less than or equal to alpha I square less than or equal to k square into norm of alpha I square. This implies each term is positive. We get a alpha I is less than or equal to k into norm of alpha I. A alpha I is norm of a alpha I less than or equal to k into norm of alpha I. This implies A is a bounded linear operator. Okay. Thus we get norm of a alpha I over L2 norm less than or equal to k into alpha I, norm of alpha I over L2. Let us revise what we have discussed today. We have discussed bounded linear operator on L2 0 1 by AF is equal to k of t into f of t, and the next example is a linear operator on L2 shift operator, and that is defined as Tax is equal to actually 0, A1, A2, etc. And the last one is on L2 again A alpha I is equal to beta I. Okay, hope everything is clear for you. In the next class we will discuss a bounded linear operator on an example of a bounded linear operator on a Hilbert space. Okay.